بسم الله الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آله وصحبه ومن والاه. The next hadith عن عائشة رضي الله عنها أن ابنة الجون لما أدخلت على رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم ودنا منها قالت أعوذ بالله منك فقال لقد عوذت بعظيم الحق بأهلك رواه البخاري. We mentioned this hadith before, maybe, or we referred to it. This is narrated by Aisha that when the daughter of Al-Jawn, it's a lady, Prophet ﷺ married her, was admitted into the presence of Allah's Messenger ﷺ, and he went near her. When he came near her, she said, I seek refuge in Allah from you. He replied, you have sought refuge in the Supreme One, the one who is worthy of refuge. Return to your family. So this was basically a divorce. Prophet ﷺ divorced her. I have not come across a good explanation why she said that, but Prophet ﷺ himself has said that whoever seeks refuge in Allah, you have to give him refuge in a different hadith. Here Prophet ﷺ didn't give the word talaq, but he says ilhaqi bi ahliki, which means go back to your family. But it is considered as talaq because of the niyyah, the intention. So this hadith is important to tell us that if somebody had an intention of talaq but used the word other than talaq, such as go back to your family, or I don't want to see you again, or this is done, something like this, and he actually means talaq. His intention has to be a clear intention for talaq, then talaq would occur.
Okay? The condition of talaq has to be made.
What do you mean? What's the condition? You mean talking about, yes, conditions of talaq, that he divorced her in a pure period, not during her menstrual period, and that there was no sexual contact during that period as well. These are the conditions of the talaq, absolutely.
But again, they have to say it 3 times or just once?
Just once.
That one is very common in our country. Go to your father's house.
Yeah, but he doesn't mean, as long as the intention is not talaq, then it would not be talaq. Okay? Next hadith عن جابر رضي الله عنه قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم لا طلاق إلا بعد نكاح ولا عتق إلا بعد ملك. This hadith is narrated by Jabir رضي الله عنه. Prophet صلى الله عليه وسلم said, there is no divorce except after marriage, and no freeing of a slave till one has possession. The meaning is that if somebody, for instance, said that if I marry this woman, then she's talaq the next day. If he said that and he has not married her yet, the talaq would not occur. Okay, talaq can only happen after actual marriage. So this is quite clear, but nobody does that anyhow. Like if somebody says, okay, he may say, whatever woman I marry, she's talaq after 3 days, for instance. So of course nobody would say that. But if somebody was crazy enough to say something like this, the talaq would not occur.
Maybe people doing muta can say that.
That's something. Yeah, that is true actually. Actually, that's a good one because they do make arrangement for a specific time, and that talaq there in that mut'ah, which is unlawful, of course, in Islam, the mut'ah marriage, the marriage just for pleasure, and it's a fixed term marriage for a specific time. That marriage is unlawful in Islam. The talaq occurs automatically. Once the time is up, the time is up. Talaq happens without him having to say anything.
What about Nisyan marriage?
We talked about that before. You were not here.
We had a long discussion about
We had a long discussion. We have to go back to the tapes. Okay. The next hadith has the same meaning. I'll just read it real quick for you. Narrated by Amr ibn Shu'ayb عن أبيه عن جده. His grandfather said that Allah's Messenger ﷺ said, no descendant of Adam may make a vow concerning something he does not possess, or set free a slave that he does not possess, or divorce a woman whom he does not possess in marriage. Okay, so that's quite clear. And the next hadith, and which is the last hadith in the talaq part. Okay, after that we go to something called a raj'ah, which means taking the wife back after talaq. Okay, and in the reversible talaq.
That raja mean reversal.
Raj'ah means reversal or come back.
Okay.
وأنه إليه ترجعون. ترجعون means you go back to him. نعم. وعن عائشة رضي الله عنها عن النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم قال رفع القلم عن ثلاثة عن النائم حتى يستيقظ وعن الصغير حتى يكبر وعن المجنون حتى يعقل أو يفيق. This hadith narrated by Aisha, Prophet صلى الله عليه وسلم said there are three people whose actions are not recorded, not counted. Basically, a sleeping person till he wakes, a child till he is grown up, means reaching puberty. Third one is an insane person till he is restored to reason or recovers from his insanity. Okay. This hadith is general. It applies not only to this chapter, it applies to every chapter in Islamic law. So if somebody was like dreaming that he's divorcing his wife and he said to his wife, she's laying next to him, you are divorced.
There must be something really going on in it.
So that's an example that would apply to this hadith.
Just like someone that saw huge money when he was dreaming.
Or somebody was under the influence. And that, see, this one, oh yeah, somebody was under the influence of drugs or alcohol as well. That may apply to this. And divorced, and he doesn't really know what he is saying. That also applies, because at that time he can have the same hukum of majnoon. Somebody who's it's the same rationale, right? He has lost his mind. So if somebody's lost his mind to that extent, then the talaq would not occur.
Sheikh, what happens if you marry a normal person and then that person becomes majnoon?
Yes.
So you cannot get talaq, you have to ask for khula.
Like I talk about the woman become majnoon or the man. Well, absolutely. If the man becomes insane, she can ask for khula. Absolutely. If she doesn't want to stay and look after him, she can file for the khula, which is a divorce. It comes from the side of the woman, of course. And the same for the husband. If she loses her mind and he wants to divorce her, he can divorce her as well. Okay, so this part of talaq is finished. Inshallah, next time we'll start the chapter of al-raj'ah.
I have a question.
Yes.
Last night you said in Arab country is something like you haram for me.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
and my country also some people say, most people they say you like my mom for me.
Yes, that's called dhihar. We talked about this yesterday briefly, but dhihar is coming. You're right, this should have come with this part, maybe here, because he talked about tahrim. He should have put dhihar, but it's coming yet, and that has a totally separate chapter. But basically, if he said that, this is more than saying you are haram, because basically he's saying you are haram like my mother. Okay, so he's made it an extreme haram. So that is why the atonement is extreme, is more than just the atonement for breaking an oath. Breaking an oath, the atonement would be, and yesterday I mentioned that feeding 10 or clothing 10 needy people or freeing a slave. If these three, you cannot do either one of them, those are by choice. This or that. Then you fast. The next option is fasting 3 days. So if he says you are haram, then he has to make atonement by one of those options. But if he actually said that you are like my mother, you are haram like my mother, then it is fasting 2 months. 2 months consecutive. And this will come inshallah. Exactly. If he breaks his fast during the 2 months at any point, even 1 day before he finishes, he has to start all over again. Yes. This is, and subhanAllah, this is the same punishment for
Someone that willingly break in Ramadan.
Ramadan, yeah.
exactly khair. Yes, will somebody who not only break his fast in Ramadan, but break his fast in Ramadan through sexual intercourse.
Okay.
Specifically.
It has to be specific for
Yeah,
sexual
yeah.
intercourse.
If
Okay.
somebody masturbates, no, we don't tell him to fast 2 months. I have to make this clear because somebody asked me this question before.
Okay.
A friend of mine called me from the States, says, oh, some young men, sometimes fall into this in Ramadan, and scholars are telling them to fast 2 months. He can't even fast 1 month. now I tell him to fast. So it has to be sexual intercourse now. But also for indeliberate killing, what do you call that? Manslaughter. Same. Fasting 2 months consecutive, correct?
No.
That's mentioned also. That's also the atonement for manslaughter, unintentional killing. That's also 2 months now.
Beside the day.
If you cannot find the diya, pay the diya. If you cannot pay the diya, which is the blood money. Stop here, inshallah.